Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to do a grid journal and we are going to focus on the technique of collage. I see a lot of people using collage. I use collage papers, but not strictly collage. So here are the papers that I am. We've got a couple gel prints, a couple of DIY stamped and stenciled papers that I've made into collage papers, and we are going to do burnt sienna and Prussian blue color. So to make my grid, I've just marked off the center of the page, and I am just going to make it easy, and I'm going to put the tape roughly in the center and around to mark off the four parts of this grid. I'm opting to do larger spaces because I think with collage it would be really difficult if they were very small. And I think four is enough for me to manage when I'm trying the technique of collage. So with collage, I want to use primarily those collage papers to make my composition, to make the art. And again, while I use collage papers underneath, I don't often do it as I'm doing it today. So this was a bit of an experiment. So aside from the collage papers that you see at the left, I have these ephemera that someone had gifted me, and they're just kind of vintage numbers, um, different ephemera like that. And I want to use it up. And again, I'm just using them as collage papers. And I like when they have numbers. Now, collage papers, because they have the stamping and stenciling and text on them, that means you can just use the collage papers and you don't have to get out the stamps and stencils and all that stuff. So it is a good one to take on a trip. You can take your collage papers and you're simply assembling them, arranging them in an aesthetically pleasing composition. Now, since I have four here, I am trying, while I'm using the same basic collage papers, in each part of the grid, I want to set them up differently in each one. So have something unique about each one. Because in the end, I get this is like a little sampling. If I really like how something came together, it's something that I can duplicate on an actual home decor piece or a card. So here's where you're just experimenting and playing. And I'm trying not to overthink it. And I'm cutting off the straight edges. I don't want it to go where the tape is. So what you see me gluing down here with my fluid matte medium it's a dictionary page, kind of an antique dictionary, so it's a little bit yellowed. And I took a toilet paper roll and I stamped black paint on it. And that's how those marks got there. So this is something that you do outside of the moment, when you do a stash builder, and then when you are doing collage, whether it's on a grid journal like today or an actual big piece, you have them ready to go. So I would put all my collage papers that have black markings maybe be stored in one file folder. You see off to the left, there's another collage paper. I didn't use it on this one. I am going to be using it in an upcoming video, but it's on tissue paper. So you can do collage papers on tissue paper, on book paper, on music paper, on any kind of paper. Get out those gel prints, scrapbook paper, get out those embellishments and ephemera. So I'm just moving around each grid, ripping paper and putting it down. And I don't know what it was about this. I was expecting to struggle a little bit with this indecision, but I was thoroughly enjoying this process of ripping paper and just playing with the composition. Where does it look? How does it look here? You want to overlap some things. On some, you're going to have more or less. And you just keep going. Now, this paper, this was a tissue paper of like paper that was colored that came in a shoebox. and I did some stenciling, and this was blue. This has Prussian blue stenciling on it. And I thought, oh, adds a nice element to this. And I glued that down, and I was really liking that pop of blue in there. That kind of was where I thought about my color scheme. I didn't start off thinking I'm going to go with blue and burnt sienna. I thought I was kind of going vintage, and it does have a bit of a vintage feel. So again, take out the papers, have an idea of where you're going, but then be open to taking the detour. Go where the page leads you. I don't know about you, but I have oodles and oodles of gel prints and collage papers, and I really need to use them more than have. Sometimes I have them and I like them so much, and I don't know how to use them, which is why I'm attempting to do the grid journal using collage papers. And because I had a really positive experience doing this, I'm thinking you're going to see a lot more of me doing it on a grid journal using collage papers. I'm going to get very comfortable with using collage. And actually here, I did not apply paint. This is mainly collage. It allowed me to keep the white space in there. Like I said, I was pleasantly surprised at how much I enjoyed this process. It was just very freeing. And because it's a grid journal and it's small, I don't think it was, one, it wasn't precious. Two, it wasn't a big time commitment. It was just enjoying the process. And you see me, I'm ripping the papers and I kind of addition it, put it here, try it here, and then I just glue it down where I think it fits. I'm kind of following just my intuition. I am not, what looks good. So here is a gel print, and this has the burnt sienna, and it has a little bit of that navy dark blue, which now, because I added those blue dots, pointed me in that direction. Said, oh, well, that goes well with that. You can look at a color wheel to see what's across, what's going to go well with it. Use what you've learned. So I'm grabbing, and again, because I had those blue circles, I thought of circles. So you see where one decision guides the next step. So I'm using, I believe this is a 2-inch stamp, just cutting off the excess so I can get in there and get, and again, when I'm doing this, I'm not sure that I'm going to continue to do it. But I thought, I've ripped a lot of them. I want something a little bit more precise, and that's why I reach for the stamp. So this is a 1-inch stamp, or not stamp. But you can cut any shape. You could have squares, rectangles, diamonds. So I'm really liking the look of this so far. I don't have a lot of solid stuff there. I don't have a lot of color. I'm just adding a little bit. And I think, okay, well, what about blue? So I went on a search for a blue gel print. Now, if I didn't have one in my stash, if I didn't go to the blue one and there wasn't that right shade of blue in there, I could take time out, stop, and get out my gel plate if I wanted to, using that blue, or just paint and do some marks on it. So right now I am just cutting more circles. I'm cutting a circle inside of the circle, and I'm just playing with the possibilities. I'm moving things around, trying it out, and if I get something I like, I'm doing it. So yes, some of these circles end up in my bin, my overload bin, the things that aren't used. But that's okay. They're not wasted because I'm trying. I cut out, stamped or pressed cut out a circle on in that blue circle, and I'm trying really hard to use it on here. You're going to see me pull it out, pull it out. I end up not using it, and that's okay. It just goes in the bin, and I can use it on another project if I see fit. Some of them, if I don't want the whole circle, I'm just cutting off a straight edge and it's going to look like it's going off the page. It's always a good composition tip to have. I left a lot of this, the first part of this video, in real time because I wanted you to see all the changes I made, all the additioning of what I'm doing and saying yes, no, yes, no. I'm making quick decisions. If you're uncertain at a point, you can get your camera, take a picture of it, look at it, see, do you like it? I thought, oh, maybe I can use this and use this kind of leftover piece. And I'm kind of looking at it and I'm trying it. And nothing I do with that piece makes me think, yeah, that looks good. So I end up not using it. It goes in the bin. It may end up on another page as more of an underlay. I just wasn't liking the look. And there are things that you're going to find that you really enjoy and you like and you keep doing again and again and again. And that's kind of your signature and your style. And there are going to be things that, nope, I don't like it. But when other people do it, you do like it and they may seem to pull it off. And again here, with the 4 areas, I want to set up a different composition. I want it to look different. So I have an idea of different artwork. So each of these areas is about a little smaller than a 4x6. So I think I could use this as a card. So after I played with it, this is where I've gotten. I took a picture and, I'm ready to glue it down. So I grabbed my fluid matte medium and I'm just lifting them up and putting them down. Now, admittedly, some of them, when I go to glue them down, I actually change my mind from what I had. You reserve the right to change at any given time. If you don't have a punch, that's the word, a circle punch, you can use lids and trace out the circles and cut them that way. I don't have very many punches, but I do have 3 sizes of circle punches because I love circles in my art. So it's something that I would use. I'm putting a coat of fluid matte medium underneath and I'm sealing it on top. So if I do more collage, what color scheme would you like me to do? If you have a suggestion for, 2, 3 colors, put it in the comment section below and I will try to give it a go. I'm really excited about doing more collage like this, where the art is collage, as opposed to just using collage papers in a mixed media piece. So here I've got it all glued down and I'm thinking, okay, am I done with the circles? Am I going to add more? So I'm just moving one around, additioning it, saying, do I like it? Do I not? Yes, no, move forward. If you use dictionary paper, you've got text. You don't need a text stamp, right? Here I am taking a little black acrylic paint on my angle brush and I'm shading around all the circles. Now, parts of this video moving forward, I have sped up because there's just a lot to it. There's a lot of shading here, and it takes a lot of time. And while you need to know this is what I did to add some detail to make the circles stand out, you don't need to watch me do it for 15 minutes. So by shading, I am bringing out the circular elements. They stand out a lot more once I've shaded with the black acrylic paint than they did before. I think any one of these, this would be a nice abstract card cover, front of a card. I would totally do this on a card and just, then it's just a non-specific card. So now I wanted to add a little bit of bling, a little bit of texture. So I grabbed the copper penny. This is actually modeling paste from the Crafter's Workshop. I'm not sure if you can get the modeling paste anymore, but they now have stencil butters, and you may be able to get copper penny in the stencil butter. You can get burnt sienna in the stencil butter, but it doesn't have as much of a shine. So that's why I chose this. I'm using a silicone brush to apply it. And again, I'm sticking with that circle motif. And I went with circles all because that one collage paper had those blue stenciled dots on it. I like using grid journaling to try out new techniques. Seems to be less threatening, less overwhelming when it's a smaller surface, and I don't know, it just seems to be freeing. Having this copper penny modeling paste over top of many of the elements kind of unifies the elements a little bit because it covers all of them. I could have splattered the copper paint on top as well, and that would cover all the elements, and it would also kind of unify them. So that's another way I could have done it. Because it's modeling paste, I do stop here and give it a little bit of time to dry. You don't want to smear it. Then I have leftover, I got some of the modeling paste on the outside, so I grab one of my tags. This is an 8x4 tag, and I'm just pushing the modeling paste through the stencil, cleaning up the stencil a little bit, and I'll have that tag at the ready. I don't know what the next step is for this tag. It may be tomorrow that I'm going to finish this tag. It may be in 2 months. But I didn't waste this. And you're going to need to scrape off the excess and clean the stencil. So you might as well put it on something you can use in your art later. Then I clean it with my Murphy's Oil soap. Here I'm grabbing my angle brush, the black acrylic paint, and I'm edging my grid. Now, I could have taken off the tape and done it afterwards, but by leaving the tape on, I kind of get that straight edge, and it protects that white area that's going to border all my grid. At this point, I am really, really happy. I've enjoyed the process. I'm happy with, all four of them, little pieces of art that I've created. And I'm interested in doing more collage. If it's not dark enough, I let it dry, come back, and I give it another sweep of the brush. I just keep working my way around. So a lot of this finishing is very time consuming. I find it very zen-like. I get into the shading and stuff because it's very repetitive. Just adding a little bit of shading on some of the ephemera details that I've added there. They're just looking a little bit too pristine. This four grid took about 45 minutes total. So now we get the reveal. So I'm pulling back the tape, and this is going to reveal my little works of art. Now I could take these and cut them and use them. I kind of use my art journal as a portfolio of sorts, where I go back to get ideas for projects, home decor projects, or gifts or card fronts. And there we have four beautiful abstract art pieces created by collage. Now, I could have left it there, but I decided to add a sentiment. This is from my short and sweet sentiment pack. These are, 1 to 4 word phrases, and I printed it off onto tissue paper. Now, when you glue it down, the tissue paper goes primarily um, kind of disappears, and all you see is the letters. I didn't want the words to be in your face. I wanted them to be there, but be more subtle. And so printing the sentiments onto tissue paper is a way of getting that effect because you don't have the stark white as if you had it printed on copy paper. So again, I'm auditioning. Where do I think this is going to look best? And when one of the ways to get it to go translucent, the tissue paper, is to use a lot of fluid matte medium. Tissue paper will get, when it gets wet, it does get weaker, so you got to be a little bit mindful of that. The short and sweet sentiment pack is perfect for these grids, for card fronts. It has so many words in different fonts that you can print off onto sticker paper, onto tissue paper, onto white paper, onto tea stained paper, whatever. If you're interested in the sentiment pack, check out NINNYSNAPKINS.com. All my sentiment packs can be purchased there, and they are digital downloads. Taking my black Posca pen and just adding some line work around the edge. Oh, I tried to put dots on there. I smeared it. So if you get some on the black on the white, I mean, you don't have to sweat it. I just took some white gesso and covered it up and made it disappear. Any little marks that you don't want, just to clean it up. Then I had some of these butterfly moth ephemera again that I was gifted, and I thought I'm just going to attach one of these. There were four left on the sheet. In an effort of using up the stash, I'm just going to add one of these butterfly moths to each section. They don't really stand out. They're not in your face. I do come in and shade a little bit to make them stand out a little bit more. Would you have added the butterflies or not? I know. Looking at, do I think I'm done? Here, I think I decided to shade them. So we use burnt sienna and Prussian blue as the basis, and we use collage papers. This is a collage art form. So do you like number one, number two, number three, imagine, or number four? Let me know in the description box or in the comment section which one. One, two, three, four. There's close-ups of each one coming up. So this is one of them, two, three, four. Let me know. Until next time, grab your collage papers and get creative.